Oh, hi, Jan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Good. Good.
Good, good. Okay, so where are you at the moment?
Right now I'm in my brother's apartment in Singapore.
Okay, and what's it like over there?
Well, I've been here before just to visit him a year ago. Singapore's quite like clean and sterile. Not a lot of character. I don't want to say. It's a really nice place to live, but probably not my first choice.
Okay.
But great lifestyle if you want like a good income and a great place to raise a family.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm just here visiting him. A quick break from my retreat in Burma.
Okay, so we met back in July of this year. You were my yoga teacher, and I knew that I was going to start a life I choose, and I really wanted to interview you because you have such an unconventional approach to life, but it's not unconventional in a trying to be unconventional kind of way. It's unconventional but very true to you.
Okay.
So I've always been intrigued by that, and that's the reason that I asked you to have this interview. So I'm going to start with the first question. Okay.
Go for it.
So how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Free spirited yogi.
Ah. Nice.
3 connected words.
Okay. So the first few questions are about yoga and your experience with yoga. So can you tell us about the beginning of your yoga journey, how you got into yoga?
Okay. Actually, I've been doing yoga kind of like my whole life, ever since I was a teenager. But the yoga journey really started for me towards the end of my medical career. So before it was always a gym class, and I would go with my mum. I would go during university and never think anything of it. I just knew that I didn't enjoy the treadmill, so I would go for a yoga class.
Did you enjoy it?
The real yoga journey started for me when I was having a bit of a quarter-life crisis, and so I had studied and become a doctor over 6 years, and I had practiced for 5 years. And at that point, I was a specialty registrar in radiology, and something was just not right. Everything was right on paper. I was passing all my exams. I was doing all the right things. I had a partner. I was staying at his place in London. Everything, you couldn't fault my life in any way. I had what anyone would dream of, but something just didn't feel right, and I was ignoring this feeling, which actually had been there if I looked for more than 6 years. And because I was ignoring it, it was growing and growing and growing. And so it reached a point where actually I had a bit of a burnout after 5 years of practicing, and took some time off work.
How did you notice you were having a burnout?
I just became really unhappy, really irritable. Any positive qualities I had as a student were slowly disappearing as I was practicing as a doctor. So, as a student, you're really happy, you're lighthearted, you're free. And as I became a doctor and I made that transition, there was this real weight over my shoulders, this heaviness and this burden, and it was just taking any positive traits I had and replacing it with negative ones, and I didn't see it at the time. I was just pushing past it. I think at the end of the day, I wasn't getting the fulfillment from the job. I didn't feel like I was helping people in the way I wanted to help people. And so that lack of fulfillment, paired with the immense amount of work and dedication you need to put in, just the equation just didn't work, and so I felt like I was spiraling downwards, you know.
So it was around this time that yoga came into your life?
So I kind of hit rock bottom. And that happened when my supervisor looked me in the face and she asked me, you know, are you happy? And I couldn't escape the question. She was looking me right in the eyes and asked me, are you happy? And because I couldn't escape, I just kind of broke down in tears. And that kind of, that was a point, that was a turning point that everything started to change because I couldn't hide my unhappiness anymore.
Was becoming a doctor something that you aspired to, like in childhood? When did it come about?
That is something I've always wanted to do, and I remember digging out my school records and reading, in 6th grade, I would be like, I want to be a doctor, I want to help people.
So it was for you to challenge this in yourself, like, I want to be a doctor, and then you're like, you're in it, you're a doctor, and it's it's a hard truth to accept. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. Primarily, I think I've always wanted to help people, but what I've realized now is that you can help people in so many different ways. And for me, I wasn't getting that fulfillment through medicine, so I think I needed to find another avenue to be able to offer my services, and that's where yoga came in. I mean, I did turn to yoga after I took some time off work around that time. And it was actually not in a yoga studio. I was a part of a dance school, and I was a complete novel dancer. I don't dance at all, but I was doing like beginner dance classes. And as soon as I took some time off work, instead of heading to my usual dance class, which was ballet at the time, I went straight for yoga. I don't know why. I just saw it, and I thought, no more ballet. I'm going for yoga. It wasn't even a conscious decision. And I remember doing this yoga class. It was a vinyasa class in Pineapple Studios in London. And the teacher was amazing. Her name's Ina, and she's really, really fluid because she's an ex-dancer as well. And it suited me very well because my mind is so active that I actually need a very strong physical practice. And that's what she delivered. And by delivering exactly what I needed, my mind somehow was put to one side during that practice. And I remember coming out of the studio and just tears were rolling down my face. I think just from it just created some space to release, I just felt the process of releasing a lot of pent-up energy. Thoughts, feelings, anything. It was just starting to come out in every opportunity.
And it's amazing how yoga can do that to you sometimes. I had an experience recently. I was in a yin class, and I had so much tension in one particular point, like in my uterus, I guess. And when I got home, I just cried, Just like yoga gave me that time to get in touch with something that was there, that I kept pushing to the side, not wanting to address.
Yeah. And by putting you back in touch with your body holds all the feelings that really tell you, what's right for you, what's not right for you. You feel it in the body, and it's there. It's telling you every moment what's good for you, what's not good for you.
Exactly.
But we ignore it because the mind just takes over, and the mind is whatever we fed it over time, whatever the parents have fed it, whatever society has fed it.
Yeah. Okay, so then you started this yoga journey.
Yeah.
Okay, and what led to you becoming a teacher?
Okay, so I was traveling for a year, just doing yoga, just doing meditation, just traveling, doing whatever I wanted, trying to be me. And I ended up in Malta, so I looked for a yoga studio, found Free My Me. Obviously, I wasn't earning any money, and so I asked if they offered an exchange, so could I work for free yoga? And they were very open to it. And within a few days, I met the whole team, and and I was working for them in exchange for free yoga classes. And then it turns out that they were running a yoga teacher training. And so they offered me to help out and take part in that. And so that's how it came about. I had been thinking about doing a yoga teacher training for quite a while, but I was putting it off for many reasons, and mainly wanting to feel that I was ready, I think. Although I think that time would have never come. So,
and you are such an amazing yoga teacher. I mean, very soulful, you know, and I always loved your classes. I want you to come back.
I really miss teaching, I can't tell you.
I'm going to change the topic a bit. You travel loads. What's your most essential travel item?
Gosh, I'm going to say something really boring.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's just say my passport. I remember when I first started traveling, I took, I think, a 65-liter backpack. And I would stuff everything into it, makeup, shoes, even high heels. And every few months when I went on a different trip, I would pack less and less and less. And even as I've moved around from place to place, you know, my valuables have just decreased in size. And now I'm traveling around on a 40-liter backpack, and it only has absolute essentials. Right now, my yoga clothing, my yoga mat.
Yeah, I love that feeling of like, you know, doing with less and less, you know, kind of. But I can't seem to get it into my home. My husband's a total hoarder. He keeps everything, you know, and I'm always trying to get rid. So my life's not allowing that at the moment.
You feel the liberation from like decluttering,
For sure.
don't you?
For sure. Even just like letting go of old clothes, you know, like ones that don't feel like me anymore. It's just like, no, of course they go. They don't fit here anymore, you know? Okay, next. You just completed one of the most, I mean, I see it as scary. You did a silent meditation in Burma. How long was it for?
It was 6.5 weeks.
Wow. Okay, so what made you want to do this?
I feel like my whole life is driven by finding out who I really am. I don't know if that's a healthy approach to life, because I feel like I'm always looking, always searching. And I know more and more that attitude is what's stopping me from discovering who I truly am as well.
What do you mean?
Learning more and more about consciousness and just being present and mindfulness. And that's really to do a lot with just being in the moment, accepting things how they are. And so right now I'm trying to be that, whilst trying to look, you know, for my perfect life, which seems quite contradictory. But actually I feel like right now I'm living my perfect life. I'm doing what I want to do, which is a search, at the same time trying to be present in that search. So there's a lot going through my mind right now, a lot of questions, you know, should I be doing this? Should I just be content, you know, staying in one place? Or actually, you know, what I want to do is travel, move around, meet new people, try new things, learn more about yoga meditation. But then you think, but I'm always trying, I'm always looking, that's not being content, that's not being present. But I think you can marry the two.
Yeah, I don't think having desire means that you are not content.
No. I'm realizing more that you can be completely present, you can be completely conscious and still have desires. It just means you have more awareness of those desires, and you're more conscious, and you have more autonomy over the choices you make. It's hard to explain. This is still a huge learning process for me.
I think it resonates a bit. I think it was Einstein who said, I'm not smarter than anyone else. I just stay with problems longer. And I think that mindfulness teaches us to do this. And I think even yoga does. You know, just kind of like with yoga, it's that physical discomfort. And instead of going, like, no, I don't want to feel that pain, you stay in it, and you see, like, can you let go into it? Can my body let go into it? And can I trust that I will be okay? And I think that mindfulness does this too. Like, as human beings, it's like we want to run away from anxiety, from sadness, from fear, from guilt, from shame, from any like uncomfortable feeling. And it teaches us to stay with it. And when you stay, it transforms because you learn from it and you know what to do. So I think we're on the same wavelength. Yeah? Okay. So tell me about this silent meditation. Were you scared?
I wasn't scared. Well, I wasn't obviously scared before I went. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I tried not to think about it. I thought, this is just something I want to do. I'm going to sign up for it. And I was there suddenly, sitting, and I had a lot of expectations, and it's really hard to put those expectations away. And so, from the very beginning, there was this heaviness of mind, trying to sit, trying to be mindful. And it caused a lot of problems in the coming 6 weeks. And it was hard for me to recognize that I was pushing myself too hard. And that's very much a theme throughout my life. I'm always pushing myself a little bit too hard. And so it wasn't any different when I arrived on day one, and I had a lot of expectations for myself. And, at times through the retreat, you would wake up and you'd realize, okay, I'm pushing myself too hard. I'm not in the moment. The mind, my mind, was just very chaotic in the beginning. I would try and sit and observe the breath, and a thought would come. And then I would come back to the breath, and another would come. And like that, with every breath, thoughts were just almost firing non-stop at you. And because of the silence, because of the darkness, you really see the content of your thoughts quite clearly. And so I developed a bit of a strange relationship where I was just really watching the thoughts coming and going, feeling quite disconnected from what I was seeing. And that brought up a lot of fear, because what I used to identify with as me, all these thoughts coming in, questions that I thought, I'm the one who's intellectualizing, I'm the one who's wondering. Suddenly, I'm the one trying to stay with my breath, and the questions are still coming. But the mind just started to feel more alien to me. And because of that, I started to feel a little bit afraid. And whilst I could recognize the thoughts as separate to me, I was identifying with the feeling of fear, and that feeling of fear was, projecting into other feelings of anger, frustration.
And I imagine it must be difficult to cope with all of this, because you have to be silent. You can't go to someone and say, listen, I'm experiencing this, can you help me with it or anything? It's just really, you have to be self-disciplined.
You can, if you really need to, you can speak to people, and I did. And so there was another long-term practitioner there who was really helpful. He had done almost 10 Goenka retreats and had been there for 6 months meditating, so very experienced. And because he's there longer term, it wasn't as strict for him. I think he was a bit more free in his being able to speak now and then, and so he was quite happy to offer advice and support.
You listened to yourself, and you gave yourself the external support you needed when you needed it.
Yeah, I felt like, at some point in the practice, I felt like the mind was becoming more and more disturbed, and it didn't make sense to me that this was happening, And so at that point, I just needed to double check with someone that I was doing it right, or maybe I just needed to speak to someone, and that was enough to let go of whatever energy was building up within me. It's hard to know exactly what the right or wrong thing to do was, but I felt like I did the right thing by seeking advice.
So was that the beginning phase of the retreat, or like did it shift? Did you experience different things?
It was, I mean, the whole experience of over 6 weeks was very much like this. It would, you would struggle, and hit rock bottom, and then I think I cried about 6 times. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was very hard. Almost every week I would cry.
That's not bad for 6
No.
weeks.
It felt like a huge emotional release, and the feelings, the mind would just go off on a tangent, and feelings would build up, and it would be hard for me to sit with it, be present with it, and it would just build up. I guess what I was doing was resisting it, and resisting it was making it worse, when actually I should have just accepted it. Like, it would follow this pattern of, a really stressful period, the mind would release, some emotion would come out, and the next day would be so serene and calm. The mind would just naturally be empty. I wouldn't have to make any effort to stay present with the breath or with my daily activities, which is what we needed to do, just to constantly be aware of the breath, of the body, of the movements.
So there would be some days where it would just happen. You wouldn't have to put a lot of effort into it.
And these days would happen after these big releases. So I'd have a big release, and the next day I would be very mindful. And then something would happen. The mind would start to swell again, and the emotions would start to build up. And then there'll be another release, and then back up again.
So it was like when you would acknowledge the struggle and get in touch with the pain of it and let go, then you could be mindful, you could be present.
That's it.
And it seems to be like the natural pull. Like we I don't know, it's like my experience so far, I mean, especially in this culture, like, where I'm not, in a retreat setting, it's like your mind naturally goes to I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I want to do this, and then you remember when that happened and I wonder how I could have done it better, and it's going forward and it's going backwards, and it forgets where like you are. So I mean, even in the retreat setting, did you find that kind of maybe at times it was easier to stay present, or just the same kind of distractions, or
you mean with the silence and the in a way the mind feels, because you're by yourself and you're not speaking to anyone, the mind actually feels much louder than I think you would experience it in real life, because the sounds around you actually mask the voice in your head, and the light around you masks any mental images that might pop in and out. So you actually don't hear clearly the thoughts in your head, and you don't see clearly memories that pop up. And that's what I think results in your identification with them. You don't see them coming, and so you think, oh, I'm thinking, oh, I've just remembered something. But actually, if you sit in a silent, dark room and you're just open and you're looking out for thoughts, you'll see from nothing this voice come in and go out, and you'll see from nothing this image come in and come out. And it's a really strange perspective to really look and see the quality of what a verbal thought is and what a visual thought is. Completely different to the relationship you have in everyday life, where a thought will come and you'll think, I'm thinking, because you don't see actually what the thought is for what it truly is.
And sometimes it's so, kind of, oh, I have the thought and I act, or I have the feeling I act, there's no questioning, there's no like, okay, is this mine or is this not? Where did this come from?
Well, that's it. We think it's our thoughts. We think we're creating the thoughts. What I realize is we're really not. We are not in any way creating the thoughts that come, because when you make the intention to sit and focus on the breath, they will attack you like nothing. And that's when you realize, wow, the mind and the thoughts really have nothing to do with me. They're there, and I can't stop them. And so the only thing is to become aware of them. Because if you're not aware of the thoughts, they can really take you into some dark places. And that's the main problem with a lot of people, is that they're not aware of the thoughts. And so they think they are the thoughts, they think they are thinking.
Depression, anxiety, unhappiness, just, yeah.
There's nothing controlling the mind. The mind will actually think whatever it wants to think. The only thing that can subdue the mind is your awareness of it. Because when you become aware of the thought, it just stops. Or it won't lead on to another thought. So consciousness has this ability to recognize thought as a thought and not build on it.
Okay. So yeah, and I'm gonna ask you one last question. Okay. Where am I? If you could invite anyone to dinner, dead or alive, who would you invite, and what would you give them? What would you make them?
Oh my gosh. I was gonna say the Buddha, but that's too obvious. Actually, I would rather invite my old master. His name is Master Su, and he passed away a good few years ago. He's probably the reason that I'm on this journey. And he taught us Taekwondo at university, but he was actually deeply spiritual and resonated this compassion and this love. And I would make him ramen noodles because that's all he ate when he was alive.
Oh, wow.
And give him a cigarette because that's all he smokes a lot. I would argue that he was, partly enlightened in some ways. And I miss him a lot.
Yeah, and thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate it.
It's really good to see you. You look really well.